Excited to be here today to really announce our mindfulness and our breathing practice work that we will be doing as we go into the next school year. I wanted to acknowledge Tracy Agerton, the Assistant Commissioner of the Office of School Health. Where are you, Tracy? Where is she? Yep. Good to see you over there. This is an exciting initiative, but I'm really thrilled to introduce the person who is responsible for making sure that we deliver on this, and to tell you the reasons why it is so critically important. So, yeah, all the young men and young ladies and all the students that are here, they've had a big round of applause. I like that, the double, for the mayor of the city of New York, Eric Adams.
Thank you.
We're giving you double thumbs up over there.
Thank you so much, Chancellor. And think about it for a moment, particularly to our educators who are here. And I just want to really thank your amazing principal. We've been in here many days. You are so forward-thinking on the projects that you've done here around food. Just about everything we think about, you implement. And we owe so much a debt of gratitude. For my days as borough president, I've been in this school talking about some of the great things that you and your team that you are doing. And it's always good to see my borough president. No matter where I go, you can take me out of Brooklyn, but Brooklyn you can never take out of me. Borough President Antonio Reynoso, first Dominican American to be borough president in the largest borough in the city. But we are on an entirely new trajectory. And one thing that the Chancellor shared with me throughout the years of speaking with him prior to becoming the mayor is that how we must develop the entire child. And we have not done that. And, just really speaking to the educators and, the children are going to continue to absorb this. But by the time our babies make their way and our scholars make their way into school, there's so many things going on around them that we're sitting down and say, why can't little Barkem read and write? Because we have not really addressed those impediments that they are experiencing every day, just like you are. And our educators have gone through a traumatic experience during COVID. Not only did you have to deal with the disruption of educating our children, but let's be honest, you have to deal with the disruption in your personal lives. You had children. You had to concern yourself with what's going to happen when you come home. Are you going to infect them in some way with COVID? Are they getting their classroom assignments? And so that complexity needs to be addressed, and it can't be ignored. And we see what's happening every day. We prepare our children to be academically smart. We teach them algebra, trigonometry, and history and English and all of those things that they could be prepared to get a job. But we don't teach them how to be emotionally intelligent, the things that's needed to keep a job. Because you could know the academics of a job, but do you know the things to deal with stress, to deal with interacting with people? How are you knowledgeable of what you're feeling and how to respond with them, those feelings? And what we are proposing to do in our full scope of developing the full personhood of our children, we are saying we want you to eat right, so you don't start out in life with some of the chronic diseases that are associated with bad eating habits. We want you to appreciate the diversity of your environment. I look at the diversity of this school and see the different children. But also, how do you do self-care? How do you care for yourself? How do you go through those moments? Because we all know that life is filled with ups and downs. A year and a half ago, a little over a year and a half ago, I lost my mother. And it was a painful moment for me. It was very, very painful. and I had to find some self-care while I was running to be mayor. While running to be mayor, I had to get up every day and, think about, mommy was no longer in my life, my constant companion. And I think about all of those moments of, health crises that I had to experience, all of those ups and downs, and leaving policing. And after leaving policing, seeing, the cruelties that people did to each other, it's in you. And that's what PTSD is about. And your body doesn't know the difference between actually going through a terrible moment and thinking about it. And we think about it often. And so in our pathway of building these many rivers to optimum health and well-being, we are announcing one of the ways in which is part of our complete package of doing this. And, darn, I wish I would have known this when I was in school, because I was a terror. I had to sit in the first seat, in the first row, right by the teacher. I was so disruptive, But if I knew what we are going to give these children, it is going to give them a tool that they can use for the rest of their lives. And the simplicity of it is just breathing. It's called breath work. We have never been taught how to breathe. We think that it's just, you go through, this air goes through your nostrils and you move. No, there's a science to breathing. There's a science to breathing before going to sleep. There's breath work you should do when you wake up. There's breathing you should do before speaking to someone. There's breathing exercises I do before I go and speak publicly. You are about to teach these children, these scholars, the basic principle of something that is one of the oldest things in humankind. They were doing proper breathing thousands of years ago. Other cultures were learning how to breathe, how to bring in breath work, and how to exhale. And I remember when I was debating to become mayor, we would walk in the studio and all of the candidates would be moving around out of nervousness. And I would sit down in the studio before we went on to debate and do my breathing exercises. And one of the candidates looked over at me and said, "We're never gonna beat this guy." That is what we're doing and giving to these children. Young people, you'll never be defeated. You have a tool right now that we are giving you that is going to empower you. And for the parents who are here and educators who are here, you're going to find those young people who are traditionally the Erics of today that are disruptive in the classroom. You're going to see a change in them over time. You're going to see them being able to start the process of just doing the breathing exercises that we continue to talk about. And so I am really encouraged. I'm excited. And although we're building it in as a requirement, it is not forced on anyone. If you choose not to do the breathing exercise, that's fine. That's fine. Eventually, over time, you'll find your way. But we want to make sure that we build it into our everyday process of education, because this chancellor is clear on the role of developing the full personhood of our children. The skills they need as they move through life is something that can't be ignored. And, I just really have to take my hat off to what he's doing, because these are not popular things. I lose votes every time I take a hot dog out of school. I like to say I'm the broccoli mayor. You're not going to like it now, but you're going to look back later and say, darn it, this guy got it. And when we have principals who are willing to push this agenda forward and introduce these new practices and thoughts, it does an amazing job. Breathing calms your nervous system. It helps to center us and help us regain our sense of balance and focus. It's a valuable, low-cost tool that is proven to improve mental health and well-being. And so we are proud today to announce New York City schools will soon be required to facilitate 2 to 5 minutes of mindful breathing practices in the classroom every day. 2 to 5 minutes. Think about that. We're not talking about hours. 2 to 5 minutes is a game changer in your physiology on how to move forward. The Department of Education's Yoga and Mindfulness Teacher Preparation Program will deliver on a promise we made at the state of the city. It's also the nation's first Yoga Alliance approved program to be run by a public school system. You have so many firsts, man. You know, this is the first. And watch what happens. This is going to cascade throughout the entire country. And so I want to thank the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene for their forward-thinking leadership. And I also want to do a special thanks to the UFT. And, you know, we were on the phone yesterday hearing all of these different programs, you know, so we're just codifying what the UFT was already doing, already moving forward with. And this partnership is sending a clear message to the students and the teachers and the staff and the faculty that they are ahead of this very important mindful breathing. It is part of our goals to teach our young people healthy habits that will last for a lifetime. This also includes food education, exercise, promoting a plant-based diet. We believe these simple, small steps will be incorporated into the lives of our young people. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to watch their parents experience a level of stress. And then they're going to say, Mommy, Daddy, just breathe. Sit down, Mommy. Take these breaths and just breathe. Because the children will teach the adults. And then they will incorporate it in their children. And you're going to see a different shift in our society. Instead of having bullets, we will have breath. Instead of having violence, we will have balance. We must deal with the stress that our scholars are dealing with every day. Ignoring it is not going to solve it, and we're willing to solve it. I thank the team for being here and making this happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. And representing our teachers union here today, I want to acknowledge her again. The mayor just shouted, but Mary Vaccaro, thank you so much for being here. And tell Michael, thank you so much for his partnership with us on this. It means the world to us. We're also joined today by the superintendent of this district, and he oversees all the schools in this district, and we're just thrilled with his leadership. Superintendent Brendan Mims, all right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And from our office, the person who's really the driving force and helping to make sure that we get all the folks trained around this city and in our schools so that we can do this work with fidelity. Stacey Haley, please stand up. Stacey, thank you. Thank you. I just want to add on one more point that the mayor just said, which is, you know, the pandemic was not the first trauma that our kids have faced, and newsflash, it will not be the last. Every day presents challenges. We're really excited about this because we don't want this to be something that's just for a few kids or a few schools. The mayor made it very clear. Every student across the entire city, every school should have access to learning how to breathe. It's a technique. It's not just your natural, normal breathing that keeps you alive, but it's an intentional focus on breathing that allows you to center yourself. I get asked lots of questions about, what are you doing? Kids have gone through a lot. What are your mental health programs? All of those kinds of things. There's nothing more important that we could teach our kids than mindfulness, deliberative breathing, walking away with a lifelong skill that they can take with them everywhere that they go, simply to know how to be still, how to center yourself, how to take in the oxygen into your body, and how to release it in a way that reduces stress. So I am super excited about it. I'm super excited for all the kids. I was at a CEC meeting last night in the Bronx, and the parents said at that meeting overwhelmingly, please make sure the parents also get trained in how to do this. Don't leave us on the side. And so not only are their kids going to show them, but we're also going to take more affirmative actions to ensure that our parents also get it. And in many of the schools, we have hundreds of our schools that are already doing this. But we want to ensure that everybody gets this exposure and this access. And as the mayor said also, all of our educators and everyone who works in our buildings, they need that balance as well if we want them to show up healthy and whole to support our kids. So with that, we're going to take some questions, I think, at this point before we actually do our breathing exercise with some young people that are going to lead us.
Chancellor, Mayor, whoever can answer this best. Can you tell us a little bit about how it'll work day to day? Is the teacher going to be the person facilitating the mindfulness? Are they going to get some training? I know there's a lot of training going on with the literacy curriculum.
Sure. Yeah. So there'll be at least one person in each one of the schools. And in many cases, there are multiple people in the schools who are actually being trained. It will look different from school to school. Some schools are much larger schools. Some schools are, they have less students. They're small schools. Some schools will do it in their advisory periods. Many of them will be doing it in their physical education classes. Some will do it at their town halls in the morning before the kids go to class. We're not mandating when. We're making some suggestions, but we're leaving it up to the leadership at the school to determine the best place to make it fit. We don't want it to get in the way. We don't want this to be, yet another mandate. That's why the mayor said it's 2 to 5 minutes. That if we can do this well, we actually believe more schools are going to want to go to another level with it because there are many levels that you can go to in learning this as a real practice and a real art form. But we just really want to lay the foundation. Mary, you want to say something to it as well?
We believe at the UFT, this will be part of the literacy curriculum so that as we transition from a read aloud to a mini lesson, that we will be able to do the breathing right incorporated in that so that we could really focus on the initiative of New York City Reads. Including in that, we think about 2,500 teachers have been trained so far just from the UFT's end of it. Michael Mulgrew and Melinda Person from NYC have bought the COM app, so every single UFT member in the city will have that to start practicing over the summer before they're even officially trained. And we're also partnering with a naturopathic doctor and MindUp to try to assist in learning how to actually breathe correctly. One thing that we have found with the teachers is that people are breathing, but they're not breathing. And so we've been showing, do you feel it here in your diaphragm? No, you don't feel it? You're not really breathing, and that's why you're like so anxious. So we're trying to bring everybody down, as the mayor said, before we really go into full force in the classrooms.
And with the highest level of creativity, you're going to have a challenging time of imagine Michael Mulgrew on a yoga mat.
Yeah, for the Chancellor. So what is the next step after this? What are you envisioning? Would there be a yoga class or something to that effect?
You know what, Julia? Yeah, I would say it's a great question. First of all, many of our schools are already doing this. And as I have traveled around the city, I was surprised to see so many schools that have already engaged. Our teachers inherently have already recognized, particularly coming off the pandemic, that this was something really essential. So I have been to many schools which are already doing even the yoga work and have the kids doing the yoga already in their schools. We're going to leave it up to those schools and our educators and our teachers and our principals themselves to figure out the best way forward. We intend to be an ecosystem of support for them. So depending upon how far they want to go and how much they want to do, we want to be able to provide them with those additional supports. But it's been wonderful to see how many schools have already been doing this, and they're not taking it as a negative like it's a mandate, but this is something that really speaks to the health of everybody in the school.
Kids responding, are they?
Oh, you're going to see in just a moment. We're going to have some of the kids who are get ready to lead us.
In fact, Principal, why don't you come and share some of the things that you're doing here?
To our Mayor Adams, to our Chancellor, our Borough President, Antonio Reynoso, to Linda, UFT, to our Superintendent, Deputy Superintendent, and our Executive Superintendents, to all those gathered here today, all the visitors, good morning.
Good morning.
To our teachers and our children, this is the reason why we're here. Good morning to you also. At PS5, we recognized that this mindfulness program that has been introduced a couple of years ago has been important to our students and our families. When our students come in the morning, sometimes, we started to take care of their physical needs, making sure they have breakfast in the morning before they go to class, and we thought that was good enough. But then when students come in and they tell a story, something happened at home last night. Something happened with my brother. Something happened with my sister. My mom didn't come home last night, And then we want the children to sit down in the classroom, and then we give them a book, and we say, okay, let's get started with our ELA this morning. But we have a guidance counselor. We have a physical education program here at Public School 5 that acknowledges when our students come in and they want to talk. So one of the things that we did introduce was the yoga. We introduced the mindfulness, and you will see some of our students that have been working, and we've learned how to do the breathing exercises here. And as principal, that's one of the things that, a principal has to learn how to do. And a principal has to learn how to breathe, or we would be somewhere not being able to come back to reality. We feel that the mindfulness program in our building has been effective. Our students are able to go into the guidance counselor's office or go into our physical education room, our gym, and they're able to just pull the mats out, and they're able to lay out on the rugs. They're able to just put their heads back, and they're able to just think about, and just take that time to reflect. And then our students are ready to go on with the day. Throughout our school, we've also incorporated a wonderful garden out in the side of the school over there that you should all visit, because it's a place that if you go out there and just sit, and then you start to breathe out there, the whole world disappears. And it's reality. The whole world disappears. And then also for our staff and our teachers, we make sure that we incorporate them in this work as well. So we've created a fitness room, and we've created all of the same types of exercises and supports to them as well.
Good stuff. This is the school experience of the future. And I just really want us to think about what was just stated. Imagine a child starting their school day. I'll never forget the story that Tracy told me when she was a principal. And the young man came in late, or stressed out and sweating. And she said, you're late, what happened? He says, I'm sorry, Miss Collins, but my dad tried to throw my mother out the window again. And how do you sit in the classroom and learn? Like, what happened to the children who lost a friend to gun violence? I mean, do we just act like that didn't happen? Every child in this city is not waking up to mom and dad with breakfast sitting on the table and, as they go to school, the school crossing guard say, "Have a nice day, Johnny." They walk into the store, they put the money in their hand and not on the counter. They acknowledge their existence. That's not the experience of every child. So when they come inside a classroom, we need to first find out, are you ready and receptive to learn based on all that you dealt with? That's what this is about. And the science is so clear. I mean, this is not, so some people would dismiss it and try to say, oh, what is this feely good stuff? No, go look at the science. The science is clear. Breath work helps the entire physiology. It helps you manage your stress. It helps your internal crises that you experience. It helps you deal with others. I'm on Zoom sometimes with my team, and I'm picking up their breathing patterns have changed. And I would tell us all, let's stop for a moment and let's do a little breathing so we can get back realigned. This is a huge, huge, huge shift in how we're going to start having schools look. Gardens, rest places for children, mats for us to take a break. We have to start shifting to take care of the human being, because if you're broken, how are you going to help broken people in the process? That's what this is about. And then your phone never stops.
Especially when you're the mayor.
Good morning, Mayor Adams. I just have a question for the Chancellor. I know that breath work is important for just an overall mental health checklist. An audit from State Controller Tom DiNapoli last year found that the majority of the 1,600 public schools in the city have a shortage of social workers and guidance counselors, which I know can also be a crucial part of the students' mental health. Is there a plan for the DOE to bring on more guidance counselors and social workers, especially coming out of the pandemic? A lot of students need more than breath work as part of their curriculum of mental health.
Yeah, and the Chancellor can speak on his plan. First of all, for mental health, there's never enough. There's never enough. And so as we do all those different items, let's go after the low-hanging fruits also. The goal is to keep building more and more of what's needed to develop the academic success with the emotional success. And so even when we move to make sure we have social workers in every school, we're still going to be finding new ways. Dr. Fassan just rolled out the app that we're going to have. So our young people are going to be able to go right online. How many of you young people have a cell phone? How many of you have a cell phone? Okay? They don't do like we want to do, walk inside the psychologist's office and sit on the couch and start telling about stuff. They want to go on their devices. So we are adjusting and shifting based on where people are, not where we are. And so, yes, we want to deal with all of those issues, but there's some very simple, easy implemented things that we can do. Chancellor, you want to?
Yeah, and the city council fought real hard a couple of years ago to ensure that there was funding for every school. Every school actually now has the funding discretion to hire a social worker if they would like to. Some schools have chosen to do other things with their funds. But I think the mayor is absolutely correct. There's no one silver bullet. There's no one answer. Even if you have a social worker in the school and you've got 1,000 kids in the school, you will say, well, we need many more. We're looking at a host of different things. That's why I think this announcement is so important, because this speaks to how do we help teach kids the skills to heal themselves. And we're also excited about, the app that is coming that is going to also allow our kids, particularly our high school kids, to actually be in touch with mental health counselors in real time from their phones. So there are a number of things. We're not going to stop. We're going to continue to work to find new and innovative ways to meet their needs. All right, so we're now going to be led through a breathing exercise. So please welcome Noah, Cash, and Sean, who's going to lead us.
And we want the reporters to follow us, all right? We want you guys to sort of find your happy place. Yes.
Good morning. My name is Noah Hill.
My name is Cash Grandison. My name is Sean Boyce.
And today in our mindfulness breathing exercise practice, we will be doing the ocean sounding breath.
The ocean sounding breath is when you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth with a whisper. We'll be doing this 6 times. You can choose to close your eyes or you can keep them open. Now we begin. 1,
Think of positive things,
2,
the things that make you happy,
3,
your loved ones,
4,
your emotions,
5,
yourself. No negative.
6. And that will conclude the ocean sounding breath.
Thank you, guys. Look at that confidence, So breathing is standing up, is sitting down, is laying down. It's before walking into a stressful situation. It's before getting into a heated conversation. And I just really would encourage all, as part of this process, is, that simple 6 breaths. I'm a Wim Hof person. I use his method of breathing and transcendental meditation, of that form of meditation. But these young people, imagine as they get older, they empower themselves, So thank you, Principal, for what you're doing. Thanks all.
Thank you.